This is BNN, the Bloviation Nation Network. Okay, let's see here. Microphone checks out, camera's on. Everything seems to be working okay. Should be another dull show. I sure hope Pat doesn't go off into one of his wild rants that have no point. Wait. What's this envelope here on my desk? There's a note. It says, open envelope. Okay. I guess I can do that. Let's see here. Oh, it looks like one of those old cassette tape players from the 70s. It's got something written on the side of it. It says, play me. Well, this is a mystery.
Good day, you dullards. Podcasting, as we know it, has become a vacuous repository of unverifiable facts and conspiracy theories presented by pompous windbags. Your mission, should you have nothing better to do, is to assemble your team and limited understanding of what goes on in the world using your talents and warped sense of humor to engage and entertain your audience or anyone else who might listen by mistake. It may take some reminiscing and the occasional intelligent joke. Sorry, I had to laugh at that last part. As always, should you or any of your Radio Relics team be identified or humiliated during this mission, the Secretary will act as puzzled as everyone else. This episode will begin self-destructing in 30 seconds. Good luck, dullards.
It's the Dullards Club for men and women, too. Welcome. This is a new meeting, and we're calling it to order as we speak. So welcome, and glad you could join us here with the two Dullards and those also known as the Radio Relics, Pat and Don. And, we decided early on that we wanted to become YouTube personalities. We define that as anyone you can see over and over again, but you can only take them in like 1 minute bits. You had a couple of things, Don, that you had wanted to talk about. And I thought, since I didn't have anything, that it might be good if you...
Well, we can't avoid the news. I think we have to acknowledge the absurdity of what we've been seeing for the last week or so. And without getting too political, everything that happens, I always think, well, this is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And it isn't, at least yet. But it made me think specifically about the I don't know if we call it inadvertent text. It wasn't an inadvertent text or email. It was a not well thought out one in the news. And it made me think of, geez, have I ever done that? And it reminded me immediately of the one time that I did have one of those. I hit send on an email and I went, oh shit. My freelance business, I was doing my invoices on FileMaker Pro. Bottom line is I sent all my invoices I've ever generated to that one client for this one particular job. And I send it and it's not, other than the privacy aspect, which is pretty substantial. I also had a habit of having slightly adjusted prices for different clients. And I said, that's going to come back and bite me. And it didn't. And I think I said, please ignore that previous email. But I don't know if that's ever happened to you in terms of, oops, kind of a text or email. Has it?
And I thought you were going to ask me about any times that I wanted to have someone killed. And then sent an email, a chain email out with a bunch of CCs on it that shouldn't be there. And
including the victim?
And the fact of the matter is that I have never actually gotten that far. I mean, I've wanted to see people dead, as we all have, I'm sure. But these are feelings and emotions that you know as adults we have them,
whimsical kind of thing,
and we let them go. I rarely do I put it in an email that I want to share with other people, and almost never have I ever ordered a carrier task force to totally obliterate this person.
A country.
So I guess I can relate, and yet I can't relate.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, and I don't know what's worse, the fact that they didn't know or the fact that they did it to begin with. And if not for this reporter being on there, we still wouldn't know.
I think what's really the scariest part is that this is still the first 100 days.
Oh, God.
Let's
Let's move on.
So much more that we could be getting into.
Yeah, especially if there's a third and fourth term. Let's not go there.
There's a school of thought that says, you know, I mean, there's a method to his madness, certainly, and madness being the operative word here.
Yeah.
But doing all this and throwing all this against the wall and getting all our attention, and we're all following this bright, shiny object. You know, we're going to buy Greenland. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do all the rest of these things. You know, and at the end of the day, he just goes to play golf. He's done all this.
That's bizarre.
We're all talking about it, but you know, he's off doing something else.
And one final word, because I really don't want to turn this into a political conversation, because by now I think people have an idea where we might stand. But it still amazes me that there can be a press conference or just a briefing in which he is, I'll say, confronted or asked the question, what are your feelings about this? Or what do you think about this? Or, when his answer is, I don't know anything about it, I haven't heard anything about it, that to me is scary. You are the freaking commander-in-chief, and you have no idea that there's a friggin' attack going on? I bet he could tell you what he shot on the fourth hole. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever been walking down the street and you had like an electric car come up behind you that maybe wanted to take a turn, and you couldn't hear it? I think there should be a law with electric cars now coming into the mainstream where electric cars should have a special noise. I'm thinking like, you know the Jetsons cars were. They should have to have that noise. We used to, when we were kids, we had a little engine that you could put on your bike.
Right.
And it was called a Vrrrooom.
Yeah, that's right. I remember. I had one of those.
Yeah, and if you didn't have one of those, you'd put balloons on your wheels or something that would give you the big throaty Harley Davidson sound.
Before we had the Vrrrooom motor pad, a baseball card with a clothespin on the spokes. That
Absolutely,
was where you
sure.
got that noise.
Well, we're playing Remember When now with those
This is what we do, buddy.
Fragrant
Speaking
reminders.
of remembering when, there are artists that folks my age should like, and many do. And I start feeling, is it just me? And I'll be curious to get any feedback or comments from our viewers and listeners. We both were in radio for a long while. I grew up with Top 40, made me wanted to be a DJ, quote unquote, and occasionally went into adult contemporary. And I did have some album rock stuff and all that. But the places I worked generally were all adult contemporary or Top 40. Somehow I got attracted to, and I know exactly how my older brother turned me on to Yes, the band Yes. And so people assume certain things. People assume since you like Yes, you must love Rush. I've heard of them, not necessarily a fan. Oh, you must love the Grateful Dead. Couldn't give a shit less about them, the Grateful Dead. I understand and appreciate their talent. I'm not a fan. The Doors, I can't stand them. It's just me. I don't know. And the worst one is Bob Dylan. I so appreciate his writing skills, but as a singer, he's a great writer. I wouldn't go across the street to see him perform. Yet I can still appreciate his importance in the music industry. And those are the things that get me like, man, I'm a weird son of a gun.
Well, notwithstanding that, Don, what you're referring to is an algorithm of sorts. I mean, if you go
I
on
guess it
to,
is.
let's say, for example, Pandora, and you say yes.
Yes.
And you say, I want to see yes. You are likely to get Rush in that sequence somewhere. Or Rush will
Admittedly,
be
you should.
there, a Deep Purple maybe, and
Right.
you get heavier and heavier. But yes, anyway, that could happen. But you know what else is about to happen here?
I sense it. I don't. I need. It needs to make a noise, so I know it's coming. Go ahead.
Well, there's more to come. So we'll circle the drain and be back, and join us then.
Let's do that.
Come here, boy. Come here.
You know, he's not just a dog, companion, protector. He's part of the family and part wolf. Part-time babysitter, full-time toilet cleaner. You wouldn't trust his well-being to some random cereal-based meat byproduct-infused bacon-flavored dog treat. You want what's best for Fido. And now, here in the good old USA, after years of testing in the Far East, from a recipe handed down from generation to generation and a taste from dog to dog, comes Chewy Chews Dog Chews, made from real, though questionably sourced, meat. Let's face it, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. But, pet parents, now you have a choice. When it comes to dog chews, you can choose the chews that choosy choosers choose. And choosy choosers choose Chewy Chews, the treat that dogs would ask for by name if they could talk. Please, pet parent, choose Chewy Chews. Really, he is.
And we're back for Circling the Drain. Well, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Is the doggy bag dead? It turns out that now among the trendy youth,
Right.
people are not taking home their food. They're ordering out. They're eating, at a pretty healthy pace. But at the end, they're just not taking their food home with them. Now, to me, and again, it's not like because I do it, it's the right way to do it. But I could generally get a couple of full meals out of a restaurant dinner.
Sure.
And to me, that kind of makes it worthwhile. The doggy bag as a term, maybe that's what's dying. And now it's just, do you want
Leftovers.
your leftovers?
You want to go? I thought of. I was unpacking a new item we bought that comes naturally packed pretty well in styrofoam that's sort of formed around the shape of the item. And I'm breaking it up to bring it to the transfer station, otherwise known as the dump. And I start breaking it up, and little pieces of styrofoam are clinging to me like I took a shower in styrofoam. What the hell is it with styrofoam? Once you break that solid piece up, it sticks everywhere, and you can't flick it away. It jumps right back at you. Designed on purpose, or is that just a nasty after effect?
Well, it's, the effect of static electricity. But,
Yes, but-
what else?
I never thought of it as being. I don't think of it in styrofoam until I break it up and realize it.
Hey, I've got an odd situation that I saw and heard about last week. It's about elder care. Apparently, there was a big hubbub recently about some mishandling of some of these folks. I think they had somebody go in undercover, and they reported on all of this. And now the Attorney General is saying, well, we're going to prosecute some of these helpers. Some of them they let off. They let them off if they would agree to a certain number of hours of community service and to take a remedial course on how to deal with elder adults. And I'm thinking, their job is to work with elder adults. How did they get hired? Like it's the one thing that you need to be able to do. Here's your interview, okay? Have you ever dealt with elder care before? No. That's okay. You're hired anyway. Sure. If anything happens, we'll send you to a course as to how to treat the elderly. So don't worry about it. And I was thinking, okay, so if you use that kind of logic, let's say that you were hiring, I don't know, nuclear engineers, and the first question is, you know anything about nuclear power? Nah, I don't really know much about it. And they tell you, well, don't worry about it. Is that if anything happens, we'll send you to a 2-week remedial course the whole thing was it's so absurd. It's sad and it's sweet, and we knew it complete, but it was,
One little parting shot here. I was doing my walk. I saw something and I had a reaction to it. And that prompted this line. At what point did I become an ornery old bastard? I remember being pretty mild-mannered and loosey-goosey, and everything was wonderful in the world. And at a certain age, I can't remember exactly when it was, but everything started to annoy me. My patience went from here to here. How did I become that person? Get off my lawn. Does it come with age, or does something trigger it? Do we just become less patient over time?
A lot of it has to do with patience and the fact that so many things and decisions that are made now in contemporary time by contemporary people are things that if they knew what we knew, if they had been through what we had been through, they might reflect a little bit more before they acted. But we'll have to save that for another time.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to save half of what we've talked about for another time, more than likely. In the meantime, it's time for us to go. The Dullards Club meeting is
I'm exhausted.
It's hereby adjourned. And you think you're exhausted now. Think of what the editing process is going to be.
I got to get some Geritol.
All right, we do have to take our leave here with you. So please have a great week. We will see you again as we are meant to do. And please remember that there's a lot of ways that you can be, but we only ask you to be one way, and that is dull. So please, stay dull.
Bye now. We'll see you in a week.